The fight for freedom and self-determination continues across the continent of Europe, especially in the Netherlands, as Dutch farmers are now battling with the European Union, who are planning to close down 3,000 of their farms across the country. Just because it's not in the news doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because the mainstream media are not interested in the battle for freedom, especially when it comes to Dutch farmers and the European Union in general. This is actually quite interesting. When you look at the problems across Brussels, the bureaucrats who come up with centralized policies and some idiotic national governments like the Dutch government who simply sign up to all these agreements, whether it's from the Net Zero Emergency Acts to the biodiversity issues and everything else. You wonder why people are kicking off. You wonder why the Dutch farmers are not surrendering. Now, the mainstream media are not interested, obviously, because they say, well, maybe this will encourage bad behavior. The same thing happened with the Canadian truckers. You don't hear much about it because they said, well, it's probably best not to promote those protests. Well, right now in the Netherlands, people are struggling because they're losing their farms, they're losing their farmers, and also no farming, no food, no livelihood, no self-determination, and no independence. Everything goes hand in hand. And they have excuses. They talk about biodiversity. They talk about the trees. They say, well, in order to defend the planet, we will destroy the planet. What? So, biodiversity is under threat. The Netherlands need to reduce its emissions to comply with EU conservation rules, and agriculture is responsible for almost half the nitrogen emitted in the proud farming nation. Now, the Dutch Environment Agency has warned that native species are disappearing faster in the Netherlands than in the rest of Europe, and that biodiversity is under threat. Okay, so we understand the concept. When you guys are going against farmers in the Netherlands and you thought that they will just simply surrender and say, yeah, we are Europeans, so our job is to simply obey. But no, these people are proud to be farmers. These people are proud to be Dutch. These people will fight for their livelihood, regardless of these centralized globalist elitist nonsensical idiots would have to say. Now, there is a balance, there is nuance. You could talk about the environment, you could talk about biodiversity, you could talk about also the quality of food, and you could have a sensible approach. You don't have to go black and white. You don't have to destroy livelihood, and you don't have to destroy the consumer as well as the producer and say, well, it's okay because the state will look after you. The state will be your nanny. That's what they want, and they want full dependency on the state. Initially, it used to be on a national level. Now it's on an international level. Globalism on steroid. Right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back in half an hour on my Tousi and we are the media.